Hello and welcome to Young Guns. Today we are going to talk about the one trophy that anybody really cares about in our sport. No, we're not talking about that weird looking, elongated trophy at the end of the year. We're talking about the one trophy that gets awarded at most people debate the wrong time of the year going into the postseason. Today on Young Guns, we are talking the Heisman Trophy. So, as you can see on the screen, you have the trophy itself and the four people that have been sent to New York. It's debatable of who you think should be sent, but those were the four that were selected. First, let's talk Caleb Williams. Sorry, Will is the best picture of Caleb I could find.
Boo.
He's played in 13 games this year. Through the season, he's 296 of 448. He has a 66.1 completion percentage, and he's got 37 touchdowns to 4 interceptions for his touchdown to interception ratio. Next is Max Duggan. He's played in 13 games this season. He's on the year, he is 239 of 368 with a 64.9 completion percentage. He has 3,321 yards, and his touchdown to interception ratio is 30 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. And last but not least, of the people that are going, CJ Stroud. He's played in 12 games this year. He is on the season. He is 235 of 355 with a 66.2% completion percentage, 3,340 yards, and touchdown to interception ratio is 37 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Now, every player after what we're about to show, and once John, you will not be disappointed. Every player from here is the people that were not only going to New York, but these were also the players that we felt deserved to go to New York. So, on our ballots, someone's ballot in our group. Oh, yeah, Stetson Bennett. I forgot about Stetson. His stats, 13 games played this season, 269 of 396 with a 67.9 completion percentage, 3,425 yards, and 20 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Now, let's talk Blake Corum. There is someone in our group, no one say who, but there is someone in our group who has decided Blake Corum is deserving to go. He played in 12 games. He has 247 carries for 1,463 yards and 18 touchdowns. Hendon Hooker was on one of our ballots. He's played in 11 games. His completions to attempts is 229 of 329. He has a 69.6% completion percentage. He's compiled 3,135 yards, and his touchdown to interception ratio is 27 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Michael Penix Jr. is on one of our ballots. He's played in 12 games this season. He is 330 of 500 with a 66% completion percentage. He's thrown for 4,354 yards, and he has 29 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. And finally, the other running back in the group, Bijan Robinson. He's played in 12 games this year. He has ran for 1,580 yards and 18 touchdowns. So, with that being said, let's talk our picks. So, Jeffrey decided on Caleb Williams, number 1, Max Duggan, number 2, CJ Stroud, number 3, and Stetson Bennett, number 4. Jeffrey, the floor is yours to talk your ballot.
I went with these 4 because of the fact they were the 4 that got picked by the whoever picks these guys. I mean, I personally, my fourth guy would have been Michael Penix because of what he's done this year, but I just didn't put him on there because he didn't obviously get picked. So I just went with the 4 and then picked them in order. But to talk about the other snubs, to me, really only Michael Penix is deserving to have a shot of being in the not the playoff, but the Heisman race because of the fact the other ones got hurt. Unfortunately, Blake Corum and you had Hendon Hooker, Bryce Young, all those guys got their seasons cut short. So that's why they didn't make it. I mean, unfortunately, if Blake Corum, he plays the full season, he's getting there. He's going to make the Heisman list. So that's why he didn't make it. I mean, there's a couple of, arguments maybe for Bijan Robinson or maybe, Drake May or something, but Texas just did not play well enough. And he's a running back, and Drake May fell apart at the end for North Carolina. Just the numbers fell apart. So that's why none of them made it. But the reason, again, I went with the 4 just because of the fact that that's what the people picked for the Heisman itself. Stetson Bennett's obviously last because of the fact his numbers just aren't there. 20 touchdowns and 6 picks, that's just not it. And you look at his rushing stats, he had 7 rushing touchdowns as well. So, I mean, that helps a little bit. But besides the fact that, again, like someone already said in the chat, he got the treatment of he was the quarterback on the number 1 team, and that's why he got selected because no one else, was able basically to take that spot. CJ Stroud's at number 3 because even though his stats are good, 37 touchdowns, 6 picks, he has no rushing yards at all because he don't run because he chooses not to, which that hurts. I mean, he's had a good season, but there's never been a moment where you could say CJ Stroud had that moment where, hey, he's going to win the Heisman. So that to me really hurts CJ Stroud, from being able to win the Heisman because he never had that Heisman moment. Max Duggan's at number 2, 30 touchdowns. He's played fantastic. He's had some rushing touchdowns as well. His numbers are really solid. I think he maybe would have had a really good shot to win the Heisman if they beat Kansas State, but unfortunately, since they lost, TCU's not a brand team. Max Duggan's numbers are not as good as Caleb Williams on paper. That's why he's at number 2. And at number 1, Caleb Williams, because of the fact his numbers are the best. Yeah, okay. I mean, everybody does usually, but I mean, to be frank. But Caleb Williams is number 1 because his stats are the best. 37 passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's got 10 rushing touchdowns. The number, or non-rushing touchdown, I think. The numbers are there. He has the best numbers of every quarterback on this list. He's had Heisman moments of looking incredible, doing insane things on the field. And even though USC did not make the playoff, which I think hurts him a little bit, I don't think it's going to matter. It's his trophy to lose, and he's definitely going to win the Heisman, more than likely.
All right. So next is Jackson. Jackson has Caleb Williams, Max Duggan, Hendon Hooker, Michael Penix in that order. Jackson, the floor is yours.
He's muted.
He's not muted on our end.
Well, he's not muted, but
I can't hear him.
That's what I meant. No one can hear him, unfortunately.
That's a little offensive.
I mean, for me, it's pretty accurate.
Well, I mean, you talking about the fingernails? I mean,
oh my God. JK, but really? Perfect QB for you.
Be nice. Be nice. I'm going to come back to Jackson once he gets his audio fixed.
Yeah, let's just go on. So Austin's is Caleb, Max Duggan, CJ, and Blake Corum. Austin, the floor is yours.
Austin, are you there?
he was there a second ago.
Austin?
Yeah, I had to. Well, obviously, Caleb Williams, Max Duggan, CJ Stroud. Jeffrey stole my thunder, basically. Jeffrey basically stole my thunder. He pointed out
Do you want
all
to talk
the
about why you?
biggest
Do
reasons
you
why
want
they were Blake
to? Do you
Corum.
want? Yeah.
He got snubbed. You look at his stats; they match up exactly the year Derrick Henry and Mark Ingram won Heisman. I know he missed 2 games. Yes, I get it. If you miss games, you don't get votes for Heisman. But I don't think that should matter in this case when your numbers are as good as his is. And he was the heart and soul of that Michigan team. And he ran for so many yards, got so many of their touchdowns on the ground. I believe Blake Corum deserves a spot, and that's why I put him in here to give him some respect. I get it; he missed those 2 games. It sucks that it has to be that way, but I still believe Blake Corum is a Heisman candidate, in my opinion. And then C.J. Stroud, he's played amazing all year, other than the Michigan game. Max Duggan has given everything he's had to his team. Like Jeffrey's pointed out with the touchdowns, hasn't thrown very many picks. He's been very careful with the ball. Caleb Williams, he's played stellar at the end of the year. His only bad game was Utah. I mean, in the conference title game. Other than that, I believe that these are the 4 that have earned it. Injuries or not, I believe these are the 4 best that deserve to be finalists. And if I would, and my overall winner is probably going to be Caleb Williams. He is my overall winner. But these are the 4 I believe that deserve to be the finalists.
And think about what you just said with Caleb Williams, how he had a bad game against Utah in the conference title game. He still threw for 365 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick. So he still played fantastic, even hurt. And to your point with Blake Corum,
No.
again,
Jeffrey,
go ahead, sorry.
Here's my point. That was considered a bad game for him compared to all of his other games. Because you look at his body of work, it's great. But if you look at that one Utah game, that is considered a bad game.
But that's why he's going to win the Heisman, because that was a bad game for him, and he still is just done fantastic, and that was still a good game. But I was saying to your point about Blake Corum is that, for me, Michael Penix should be the 4th guy, or Blake Corum. Either of those 2. I just put Stetson Bennett there because that's what was picked. I just went with what was picked and did them in order. That's the only reason why I did that. But I agree with you. Blake Corum deserves respect.
Here's the thing.
The injuries cost him.
Jeffrey, like I pointed out, Corum's numbers matches Derrick Henry's when he won the Heisman. Some of them even surpassed Derrick Henry's. And Derrick Henry was a running back also. I think this award's being like the NFL MVP, where it's been driven towards quarterbacks a little bit more. I think running backs like Corum and Bijan Robinson should get a little more respect because their numbers are just as, if not better, than most quarterbacks. Not all, but I think they deserve some respect because you look at Blake Corum, he was the reason why Michigan won a lot of games this year. Even Michigan fans say that. So he deserves respect, and he got my vote.
All right, so that's all for Austin. Now Will. Caleb Williams, Hendon Hooker, Blake Corum, Max Duggan is who he has.
Well, I'm gonna switch. I'm sorry, I messed up when I said this to Bug Eye Mike. So I'm gonna put Max Duggan at 2, and for Hendon Hooker and Blake Corum, they're about the same for me. But if I had to give it to one over the other, I would slightly give it to Hendon, just because only because Blake had help with Donovan Edwards, and when Hendon was out, Tennessee just could not do anything. I'm against against South Carolina, and the reason why I don't have C.J. Stroud is that, in my opinion, he choked with 2 picks against the team up north, and for Stetson Bennett, I just feel like he didn't do that much. I mean, he did. He's a really good system quarterback with Todd Monken. in Todd Monken's system, he's the best quarterback, like statistically in efficiency. Unfortunately, I do think I have to give it to the fingernail man himself, Caleb Williams. Even though I do not like USC, and this was not fun seeing them do this well, he's just the best quarterback. He's not just the best quarterback; he's the best player this year with everything that he's done. Even when they lost, he still played really well. So definitely have to give it to Caleb Williams. Unfortunately, I actually like Blake Corum, even though like we are rivals with Michigan. Like I think Blake's a pretty humble guy, and he only grew up like an hour southwest of where I live, where I grew up. So I definitely am a bit of a Blake Corum fan. But even though Caleb Williams grew up just across the Potomac River in D.C., I can't root for the guy because he's a cocky quarterback for this University of Spoiled Children. So, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's a good one. All right. So, this list for me was really hard because I had to really dig, as Jeffrey could attest to, how hard it is to do these list kind of things, like the top 25s. So I laid everything out and just decided.
So, Will, you believe that Corum deserves respect just as me?
I think, yeah. I mean, I know he got injured, but I still think he should be a Heisman finalist over Stetson Bennett.
Well, I agree too. Like I said, the only reason why I put the 4 that I did is because I just ranked who were picked, what the people picked, and the actual Heisman, and ranked those in order. I mean, if I actually didn't even know we were considering putting others on here. If I was, I'd have put Michael Penix at 4. Like I said, that's why I've clarified that. Or Blake Corum would be right behind. I just ranked the 4 that were actually are the Heisman candidates in order. And Stetson Bennett should not be on there. I agree 100%.
So, with that being said, here is mine. Caleb Williams at 1, Max Duggan at 2, Michael Penix Jr. at 3, and Bijan Robinson at 4. Personally, I like Bijan more than Blake. Blake deserves all the credit he's got. I feel the difference between Blake and Bijan, though. I do believe Bijan did not get hurt, so he did not miss any games. Whereas Blake did, and that it stinks, but that is a factor for this. So it's nothing personal against Blake Corum. He's a great, great guy. In fact, if we went to 5, I'd probably have him at 5. I don't know why that saddens you.
I don't know how it was me either, because I said if I was going to put a guy on there, it'd be Penix or Corum for that last spot, because I don't think Stetson Bennett belongs. I just ranked the 4 that were. So, I mean,
oh, yes, Stetson Bennett absolutely does not belong at all.
I didn't know we were adding other guys. I didn't know that.
I have to give this.
But Corum still has the numbers. I know he's been injured, but he still has the numbers. You take that into account at least.
Yeah, I laid it all out in the slide. The thing is, again, it's a production award. It's a statistical award. It's a how many games have you played? Because here's the thing. If that's the case, then they should have given the Heisman to Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins didn't deserve the Heisman, but he played every game.
May God rest his soul.
Yes.
Sad.
Yeah, he did. He missed enough time.
Him carrying the ball 2 times against Ohio State does not count unless those 2 rushes were both 99 yards and a touchdown. Then maybe.
Okay, so let me ask you guys this. You said it's a production award. Like I said, Blake Corum's numbers match Derrick Henry's production when he won it. Like,
Okay, but
that's a
he
big
didn't
thing,
play
is it not?
every game. You have to factor everything in. Blake Corum, yes, he
They
deserves
did
to.
not put one guy on the list that was hurt. They just didn't. Every hooker.
Why do you think Hendon Hooker didn't make it? Because he had poor
Bryce Young.
stats.
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young didn't make it because he had poor stats because he missed a game and a half.
They also
Blake
go
Corum,
into the same guy 2 years in a row.
Blake Corum didn't make the list because he missed 2.5 games. Hendon Hooker didn't make the list even though he was up there because he missed games. It sucks that this is what the award has come to, but
Yeah, it does.
in my opinion, it should really be a battle between.
Because if you have the stats to back it up, you should be able to have some.
Well, yeah, but here's the other thing, and I hate saying this because it makes me sound like a like a biased person, but I'm not. If that's the case, then here's the best example I can give you as to why Blake did not get to go. One, did he deserve to go? Yes. The whole rest of the year should have backed it up, but it doesn't because he missed time. Two, who was the last running back to win the Heisman?
Derrick Henry.
In 2015?
Derrick Henry.
This is 2022. That was 7 years ago, so here we go again.
Gosh, I feel old. That was 7 years ago.
It's hard for a non-quarterback to win this award. It can happen.
As Hummus
It's like
Hero
the
says,
NFL
the
MVP.
Heisman was once
It's
a
hard
running.
to do it.
As Hummus Hero points out, the Heisman was once a running back award. Now it's more of a quarterback one. And I don't think it should be. To me, the Heisman should go to the best player, even if it's a defensive player. It should not be a quarterback award.
Like, for example, the year that Ndamukong Suh went, as a player, I think he deserved to win it. Or at least be close. As far as Michael Penix Jr., as Jeffrey has pointed out over and over and over, this man has the stats. It's stacked up, in my opinion, and it has no bias against USC. But in my opinion, I feel like Michael Penix Jr. deserves it more than Caleb. It's just a whole factor of he was close to the playoff. Like, if they'd have won that game, they'd be in the playoff. He played every game.
What separates Caleb Williams from the rest, I didn't mean to cut you off, but what separates him from the rest is the running, man. I'm telling you, Caleb Williams' rushing stats are the difference because 37 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. CJ Stroud has 37 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. It's the same thing, but CJ Stroud has 0 rushing touchdowns. Caleb Williams has 9 and a lot of yards. That's the difference, literally.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, one thing too is Caleb Williams did great down the stretch compared to CJ Stroud.
Well, nobody's arguing CJ Stroud. The discussion is about Michael Penix to Caleb Williams. In my opinion, CJ doesn't even deserve to be there.
Yeah. Zeke, people didn't really know about Zeke until the playoffs, though. Like, he wasn't really people didn't talk about him like nationally that much.
If he had performed better in 2015, he would have won. Oh, holy crap.
Oh, I'm Fitz.
We can hear you.
Yeah,
you're back.
Yeah, I found the settings. It was the mic volume. Yeah, it was at 0.
That happened to me before too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hold on.
I'm so
Go back
sorry.
to his picks.
Yeah, hold on. Give me a minute. I can bring it back up. You guys just keep talking.
Yeah. Why I had a Hendon Hooker.
Okay, Jackson, I saw Hendon Hooker in yours.
He's
as a
getting to that.
precursor. Why is Hendon Hooker in yours if he was injured?
He was
Well,
getting to that.
I didn't factor it in.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great year this year, and the great job he did with Tennessee this year, and the way he played against Bama, it's just like, yeah, he got hurt against SC, but I was just like, I don't want to throw him off the Heisman because he got hurt. I mean,
everyone wants to make the argument for him since he missed those games that
Yeah.
he should get no consideration, even though his numbers are there.
yeah, but
Yeah,
he's had great stats this year.
Since
And,
everybody picked other players, man. Like I said, my 4 is Caleb Williams, Max Duggan, C.J. Stroud, Michael Penix. That's my 4.
Well,
If you guys added other players, I only put Stetson Bennett because again he was one of the 4 that were picked. But my 4 is Penix then.
I put Penix
There we go.
because he leads the nation in passing yards, and the great job he did against Oregon. Oh man, it was just like it was enough for me to have him in the Heisman discussion.
He should be.
But luckily he's gonna return next year, and he's gonna get what's his. And I think he's gonna stomp a mud hole in the Texas Longhorns. Oops, gave out a little spoiler for the audience.
Come on, man. You can change that pick based on a lot of factors between now and then.
Well, not with the Alamo Bowl. I can guarantee you that. I'm going with Washington on that. I like you, Bijan Robinson, but nothing personal. This is business.
Nothing personal, but this is business. So, do we want to open the line for a few minutes? If anybody wants to
talk
come
to
in
John
and ask us a
and
question.
Edward and all the guys.
Well, we can open it for a few minutes, but we guys in the chat, we don't want to be on here forever.
No.
Yeah, the kind of catching up on my sleep would kind of help.
Yeah,
I slept for 9 hours today.
That's
me. I got bags under the bags in my eyes. I'm so tired.
That was me yesterday, but I feel a
Even
bit
my
better
bags
today.
of bags.
Yeah.
Even my bags have bags.
Day 7, Mr. Squidward. Day 7.
Day 43. Give it up for day 43.
Oh man, like that's just.
I definitely think that Henry was the better running back though than Zeke. I don't know. I mean, it was close, but I would have given it to Henry that year.
Well, that was my point. Was like
I also would have probably given it to Christian McCaffrey, maybe even over Henry.
I could see that.
Yeah, he got.
I mean, as a
no
Notre
love.
Dame fan, he torched us.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I'd hate to get stiff armed by Derrick Henry. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah.
That's not somebody I won't mess with.
God, you guys.
Well, I mean, if some of us got stiff armed by Derrick Henry, we'd probably be in the hospital.
Yeah.
Here's my question:
Derrick
is
Henry
everyone
would
picking
snap
Caleb
my
Williams
neck.
to win the Heisman?
Huh?
Is everyone picking Caleb Williams to win the Heisman?
Unfortunately, I think Caleb wins the Heisman.
If he's
It's not that I'm kind of
like
with them. It's not like I really want to pick him, but it's
It's a
inevitable.
foregone conclusion at this point.
Yeah,
There's no one that has the numbers. There's just no one that has the numbers.
Oh man, I would laugh so hard though if they gave it to someone else.
I hope it's Max Duggan. That's who I want to win.
I would love to see it be Max Duggan.
I really do, but it's not gonna be.
I will say that this year, unless some magical way they thanks one scoop,
I
John.
don't think we're getting any calls then. John was really
it's a jolly good show.
I thought Edward was still in here.
He's gone.
I will say before we possibly go, this goes against my theory though.
Oh, he is here. Okay.
Oh, I still remember that one player tried to take his knees out, but he got kneed in the face. Yeah. Y'all
I'm
take
sure
it.
he wants it. I'm sure he wants it.
Yeah.
Is he campaigning for it? Because my theory has always been usually, and it's literally just because
We will.
we will as soon as we get off here soon. My theory would stand correct if USC had not lost that freaking Pac-12 championship game. My theory has always been that once the playoff was initiated, they wanted the Heisman to be in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of happened luckily that 9 times out of 10, it usually is in the playoffs.
Mhm.
But with Caleb winning, it's like a Johnny football year all over again, or a RG3 year all over again, where the Heisman winner is actually not in some way competing for the national title.
Yeah, I remember last Saturday where Saban was on the Fox halftime show, and then he was on Sports Center. So
Mm-hmm.
there you go. Yup.
Yeah.
There's 11 of you guys in here if you want to call in real quick.
Do we want to do a quick look at who won the other awards in the college football awards? I mean, it can just be me if anyone wants to drop off and go to bed.
I can let me open another tab and I can pull it up real quick.
This is the best time of the year.
I have it up
How-
here. I can link it.
Oh, I got it. You're good.
Oh, I am ready for those bowl games after the Heisman.
Come on. Okay, here we go. Let's see. All right. So where should we start?
Let's see.
Oh, here we go. Well, the one that sticks out to me is my boy Michael Mayer not winning the Mackey is a joke.
The Mackey Award. Where's it?
Brock Bowers winning it over Michael Mayer is a joke.
Huh.
How's that a joke? Brock Bowers'
because-
stats are pretty darn good.
It shouldn't matter about the stats for a tight end. It should matter about stats and blocking. Brock Bowers doesn't block.
How did Will
Michael
Anderson
Mayer
win
blocked.
also all the defensive award? He needs an award for the player that was most offsides.
That's
I like
funny.
the
It
Frank
shouldn't matter about
Boyle.
stats for the Mackey Award.
Frank-
Stats should not matter.
So
It should
the
be
one that
the whole body of
upsets
work at the tight end.
the one that upsets me is the freaking which one did I say it was?
You were talking about Marvin Harrison getting screwed over into
Yeah, the
Or
Blitnikoff.
I'm comparing the stats.
In my opinion, the Blitnikoff should have went to Marvin Harrison Jr. He was overall the better receiver all year long. Because I guarantee you, the only reason.
According to ESPN, the stats for Hyatt are actually better than Harrison's.
But how much better?
So Hyatt has more yards, more touchdowns, and more average receiving yards per pass.
That will happen when you have a quarterback that can actually throw a bomb.
Yeah. It wouldn't
Here's the
even have
thing,
been a
Buckeye
debate.
Mike.
It wouldn't even have been a debate if Hooker had played the whole season.
Yeah, I could see
Here's
that.
the thing, Buckeye Mike. What about the Alabama game when Hyatt had 4 touchdowns?
That's what I just said. When you have a quarterback that can throw bombs, because look at his touchdowns, they're all deep balls. You got a quarterback that can throw bombs, and you're just padding stats.
Can CJ Stroud not throw the ball deep?
Yes, he can, but he didn't do it as much as Hendon Hooker did.
I like the Frank Broyles.
So why is that his fault though?
Yeah.
The winner of an award should be the person that has the best stats in most instances.
It took 1,000. Here's the thing, Austin.
Not in the Mackey Award. The Mackey Award should be the best overall tight end, not the
Well,
one.
I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing. I said in most instances
Yeah.
for one. So I was pointing out your point.
Here's-
They gave it to Brock Bowers because of the fact of the stats, even though they shouldn't have, because it's a tight end and because
that's my
Georgia's the number
point.
one team. I mean, that's why Matthew Mayer didn't win it. Now, how many games did Matthew Mayer have that he only had 10 yards receiving because at the beginning of the season when Notre Dame wasn't passing the ball hardly to him? That's the problem. If Notre Dame had have passed the ball to him like they started doing at the end of the year, then he would have won the award. Even though it is about blocking as well, he did not have the stats nowhere near because that was Notre Dame's fault. They didn't pass the ball enough early in the season well.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm triggered over it right now. I'm trying to calm down.
Exactly. That's my point, Hummus Hero. It took 1,000 targets, Austin, for Marvin Harrison to drop a ball. And you're telling me a guy that takes 1,000 targets to drop a ball doesn't deserve the best wide receiver in the country award?
You know another reason why he won it, Buckeye Mike?
Huh.
SEC bias.
Yeah, of course.
There you go. But again,
But
I will
the
say
stats are similar.
if Hendon
And Hyatt
Hooker
didn't
had
drop the
played
ball much either.
if Hendon Hooker had
I
played
mean-
the whole season, then Hyatt's numbers would have been even better than that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what no one's talking about. They would have been even better than that. He probably would have had 18, 19 touchdowns.
And if Stroud didn't crumble under pressure against Meat Chicken, Harrison's numbers would have been better. He'd probably have about as many touchdowns as Hyatt. He has more catches than Hyatt. He's lacking in yards by
That Alabama game
just
is
over
one
100
Hyatt.
yards. Yeah, you pull that Alabama performance out for Hyatt, and Marvin Harrison easily wins the award.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but he still had that performance, so it still counts.
Right.
Well, my point is, it's neck and neck. It could go either way. It went SEC bias and went to Hyatt.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
not saying
again, he
that
would have had
Harrison's
more
bad or
stats
nothing.
if Hooker played all season because he would have. So it's all argumentative.
Hyatt had better statistics, like Jeffrey said.
He would
Barely.
have had even better statistics with Hooker playing all season. It just
I
didn't
like-
happen, but they were still better.
I like the Frank Broyles award that awarded a Garrett Riley. You know, it's been a magnificent coaching job he's done as the OC. I'll tell you, anybody that gets Garrett Riley as a head coach in the future is going to be very happy.
I like the fact that Jack Campbell from Iowa won the Campbell Trophy.
I wonder
Yeah.
if
That's
it's
the best punter award.
I wonder if it looks like a big can of Campbell's soup.
Oh, I love the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award that it was awarded. It was awarded to Matt Duggan. And the David.
Who won the best offensive line?
It's probably Meat Chicken.
Let's see. The Davey O'Brien Award.
That's
that
best quarterback.
Yeah, that was pretty big.
Max Duggan, Davey O'Brien.
Maxwell is for best offensive player.
There's a
Caleb won that
burger.
one.
What award did he win?
What place was Willie Fritz considered for the Home Depot Coach of the Year award? That's what I'm wondering. Was he second place? Because I mean, it's like, but I mean, like at the same time, I love the coaching job that Sonny Dites has done this year.
Using this logic, Marv is a better possession and boundary guy. Hyatt's the twitchy stretch the field guy. Well, then you need to have a award for the better possession and boundary guy and an award for the twitchy stretch the field guy.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: they
Mitch-
both excel at something different. That's what makes them both great.
Actually.
Great, but Hyatt overall played the better year, in my opinion.
And here's also another point by Hummus here. And Marv had Ibuka on his team, another 1,000-yard receiver. What if he didn't have that? More of the passes would have gone to Harrison. Then he would have had more stats too. That's another point. That's true.
Oh, Caleb Williams getting the Walter Camp Award. What does everybody think of that?
Ring ads is one of the young guns getting engaged.
No.
No,
No, we're not
Jeffrey,
looking.
you got something to tell us?
Austin. It's probably you if it's anybody. Come on, man.
You are the only one that. You are currently the only one that has a girlfriend, so that would make sense. For Austin.
Maybe Jeffrey has a secret one.
Oh, trust me, I talked to Jeffrey plenty. I would know if he had a girlfriend.
Yeah, that makes me feel kind of sad. I'm that readable.
Okay, back to the awards. We got off topic.
I'm trying to see who won the award because I'm not seeing it anywhere.
Yeah,
Wait,
what's
which one?
thought on the Maxwell Award being awarded?
The Joe Moore Award.
Tim Pragley joined the chat.
I think based on the demographic,
Timmy.
that's why they're doing the ring ads. And no one knows our love life, man. All right.
Yeah,
I'm trying out here, boys. I'm trying.
man.
Man, I mean, Austin might be right. Could have a secret admirer. You never know.
Yeah.
Tim
We
points
all
out
said
Caleb
that
Williams
Caleb
without
should have
the two
won. We
best
all said
receivers,
that.
Addison
We all gave
and
him
Williams.
As I said, Caleb Williams' stats are padded because he's got the rushing numbers as well. That's the only reason why Kyler Murray won it that one year. Because of the running numbers. That's it.
Wonder how he's doing these days.
Oh, Kyler Murray?
Oh, well, I know, but it's just
I mean, a lot of the Oklahoma quarterbacks that have entered the league haven't really done that well, unless you count Jalen Hurts. And he's technically, according to everybody, an Alabama quarterback.
yeah.
Well,
They won't give Oklahoma credit.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Well, the best I can find is the fact that it's between Michigan and Georgia.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing anywhere else. I'm not seeing anything.
Tim says forget. He said forget the stats. Just watch the dude ball out. And Edward says Murray plays a lot of Call of Duty from what I hear.
Yeah.
And
Well, do you
Tim
remember the
also-
whole thing with? Do you remember the whole thing with Kyler in the contract saying that he has to study film for a certain amount of time every week because he wasn't studying film?
Tim said none of the guys in New York knew what Caleb did. I agree.
Of course you would say that, Tim.
Caleb was the best player in America.
He deserves the award, in my opinion. Of course.
Nobody's debating if Caleb deserves it or not.
Nah.
No, we all picked Caleb Williams to win the award.
Yeah, we all picked Caleb
just
Williams to
because we-
win. I just, I
I think it
have
would be
bias.
funny
This
if-
is one of the things like I will give you straight down the middle. And then once I give you the common sense, I will argue or not argue. I will make my case for.
Stetson could, haha.
If Stetson wins,
Caleb won't be the best.
a whole voice of college football community is going to explode.
Hey, Will, that's not gonna happen, man. You said Alabama was gonna make the playoff, and I told you, don't worry about it, Will. They're not gonna get in. You get freaking out too much about the SEC bias, man. It's gonna be all right. They're not
Here's my
ruling the entire
question.
college football world yet.
Who's the coach of the year in your guys'
Sonny
opinion?
Dykes.
While we're looking at
It's
awards.
Sonny Dykes. From 5-7 to 12-1 is so important. It's so impressive.
I would consider Willie Fritz be coach of the year.
Yeah.
Caleb plays hero ball, which is great, but he won't be able to do that in the pros. He will need to, of course, he will need to adapt. Look at Justin Fields.
Edward says the only player with an AARP card, but yet you've got Hendon Hooker's the same age.
Oh yeah, 4-8 to 11-2. That's
Yeah, Lincoln Riley has a case too.
Lincoln has a case, but they're not going to give it to him because he has more
but it
talent.
was
The coach
really
of the year usually goes to the coach that does the most with the least talent.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of my point the other night with Lincoln Riley. I mean, when you're getting all those transfers over like that, it's kind of a lot easier to go from 4-8 to 11-2.
And plus, we all expected USC to turn it around in 2022. And if you look at the Phil Steele
No one.
magazine,
Let me ask you: did anyone expect USC to be 11-2 this quick? I had
sure.
USC winning
Yes.
8 games this year.
Yes, that
The
team is
talent is
stacked. That team
ridiculous.
is illegally stacked.
I
So
was
of
expecting them
course,
to
That
get-
is
USC winning 8
actually
games this year.
correct terminology, to be frank. But I mean, it's true. They got talent like this. That's exactly what happened. They had talent,
No.
but then they got better coaches, and then they added to it, and that's why they went from 4-8 to 11-2.
When
I was
here's the
thinking
thing:
they would
even
go
the
9-3.
USC guys did not think they would win 11 games.
I was
Tim,
going
Tony,
9-3.
Rick thought 8 games.
It was about meshing it together. They thought the defense was going to be a problem, but the offense ended up being so good all season with Caleb Williams that they didn't need the defense. They beat UCLA 48-45. Their defense was horrible, but their offense made up for it.
I was thinking that they would lose.
Illegally, don't be worried about it. You guys have another year to get your stuff together.
I was thinking that they would go 9-3. I thought they would lose in
Hey, Tim, while you guys
Jalen
were
DeBoer deserves an argument as well.
Yeah,
Hey Tim, while you guys were down in the dumpsters, being 4-8, we were averaging 10 to 11 wins a year.
Yeah.
And Ohio State's in the playoff.
Mr.
Yeah, where you should be.
Mr.
Ohio
DeWeese,
State's in the playoff.
That's another good point from Mr. Dewey.
yeah.
Caleb is a poor man's Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love how this is now turned to a USC Ohio State
Caleb
argument.
Williams is the Heisman. It's okay.
Yeah, nobody
thing.
is debating that Caleb Williams will not win the Heisman. It's obvious.
Always the bridesmaid and won the bride.
That does not make sense.
What's that mean?
It means
Here's
they
the thing
always
that I
come-
find
Ohio State
interesting.
always comes in second. They never actually win.
Excuse me. Last I checked,
Oh.
Ohio State won in 2014. When was the last time USC won a title? 2005, 4.
2004
Yeah.
season.
Totally. But yeah, Kalen
We're
DeBoer.
loyal, we married for
going
life.
from- Kalen DeBoer going from 4-8 to 10-2. Like that was a great year, man.
Yeah, that's another good one.
Next year he's gonna have Michael Penix next year. That's gonna be awesome, man. So that's gonna be pretty
Here's
Here's
the
the
thing. I would
Here's
like
the
to
thing,
know.
Tim. Here's the thing, Tim. You picked the wrong coach. Hold on, I'll drop it.
I'll drop
Again.
it. I got it.
I got it.
There we go. He's coming on. Be prepared, Buckeye Mike. Be prepared. You know.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I have nothing against USC and Caleb Williams. It's all Buckeye
I
Mike.
don't either.
I feel like he. All right.
well. You
I
know,
don't.
I think Lincoln Riley's doing a fantastic job with USC.
The problem is USC picked the wrong coach because Lincoln Riley, with all the production he's had at Oklahoma, he can't win in the playoffs.
He ran into LSU in 2019 and Alabama in 2018. Could any team have
No,
won
it
that
was
game?
Georgia. It was Georgia.
Georgia was 2017.
The 2018 season.
2018 was Bama.
Oh,
The
yeah.
2017 was
season
Georgia.
was that shootout against Georgia in the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all.
Yeah, but
But
they
you
made it
should've
in
won.
18 too, did they not? With Kyler?
Yeah, they made it in 3 years in a row.
Yeah, but in
So
2020,
exactly.
they were
3
in
of the
a New
best
Year's.
teams ever.
But you know,
I guess Timmy's getting prepared to get in.
Yeah, I was like, he was coming, man. Like, where is he?
So let me ask you guys
I
this.
was
Buckeye
bracing
Mike's
myself.
point.
2019.
The 2019 LSU team, the team that Oklahoma went up against, if Oregon or any of the other teams would have got in, do you think they would have beaten LSU that year?
Nobody's
It
saying
could have
that.
been at least closer than it was, Austin. The thing that makes it bad is how bad they got beat. Oh, here he is.
there he is. What up?
Gentlemen,
What's
Gentlemen.
up? Man? How are you, my man?
I was doing great. till I had heard Mike talking some nonsense, but yeah, I do love the Buckeyes are always there, aren't they? But they never win. They're like that. They're like that. They're like the bridesmaid that's always there trying to catch it, but only gets it one time. So you guys won a national championship. That's right. What, in 2014? And then when was the last time before that?
2002.
And then before that? Woo! We got to go back a ways, don't we?
The Trojans are
68.
joining the league, John. We need to get used to arguing with
You
their
guys got
fan
like
base
two
on
of
the
the past
regular.
50. You guys have like 2 natties in the past 50 years. You're running your mouth against USC, really?
No,
Two in
my
50
argument
years,
comes
bro.
to your coach.
2
picked
and
the wrong
50
coach.
years. You guys are almost
Man.
Michigan status. 2 natties in 50 years, bro. Seriously. None of us been around for more than
Relations
2
are going
natties.
downhill.
Wait, we get the wrong coach. Wait, what do you mean, Mike?
He's not proven to be able to win. He's had enough talent and make the playoff, but he can't win the playoffs.
How many years has he been teaching? How many years has he been coaching?
What about that defense, though? I mean, got to get the defense to improve. If you improve
Yeah.
the defense, he can win it.
Right. How about give him more than 1 year to build a defense? Maybe give him 2 years. Right. How many titles we have? As many as you do. We have 2 in the past century.
Oh,
the past century,
Hummus Hero
this century,
says
this
he's going
century,
to
right?
join.
All right.
Dude, yeah,
Come on in.
Hummus. I've never even heard Hummus.
It's going downhill fast. We're sinking, baby.
I can't wait for this game to be a conference game. This is going to be a beautiful rivalry.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
1968 was Woody Hayes' last championship.
Yep.
When?
68.
1968.
Dude, none of us were
When
alive.
we beat USC.
Even my old man hasn't been alive that long. I mean, a long time.
I have family that remembers it.
So, Mike, Tim,
At least I was alive the last time USC won, though. I'll give him credit there. I was alive. I was 1 year old.
You were alive the last time Ohio State won.
Yes. And so it's 1-1. It's
I was
nil.
an I was itty bitty.
So to answer Hummus's question, USC has 2 national titles, and Ohio State has 2 national titles in this century.
So,
But if you look at the past 50 years, because that's how far we have to go back, USC's got a hell of a lot more than 2 in the past 50 years. So I'm just saying.
So one question for Tim and Buckeye Mike and Hummus Hero, who's going to join in a little bit.
Mhm.
What do you think about Ohio State and USC becoming conference opponents in 2024? Now, is that going to be pretty cool? Is it going to be as cool like it was in the 08-09 home and home series?
I don't see it.
Oh, I
being
hope they don't want to be
bad.
that. But those were beatdowns, Jackson. They don't want to remember
Well,
those
no,
days.
because the one at Ohio State, the one at Ohio State was 18-15.
We that's true. We brought a freshman quarterback in there and beat you in the shoe. That's right. I forgot about that one. And Pete Carroll's
I
probably
give you
worst year.
credit for that.
And Pete Carroll's
I give you
worst
credit
year.
for that.
Yeah, the 08 one I remember was a beat. The 09 one was a tight.
I was watching the 08 one, and Marcus did not have a good game. I wanted to see Marcus play at Ohio State. He did not have a good game.
Oh,
Hey,
Marcus
Buck, Mike,
Freeman.
you're gonna have
Yeah.
to change the title from Heisman Trophy breakdown and predictions and picks to Heisman Trophy breakdown / Ohio State versus USC debate.
Well, the thing is Ohio State's pretty good. They're okay.
Yeah,
They're an okay team.
I'm
That'd
ready.
be like talking about Virginia.
We have
Tech
more
or
depth at
something.
defense, that's for sure.
Yeah,
We're gonna see that defense. We're gonna see. So Jim Knowles did a great job. I still say this, and I mean it sincerely. Did a good job against Michigan, given what they had to go up against. Because you guys should have got your clocks clean in that game. But the defense he came up with without stacking that box, it's kind of like Russian roulette. Though eventually it's gonna chamber something. It's not gonna be very good, and that's what happened right in the fourth quarter. It's all of a sudden that bullet just kept dropping, and that's what you have to worry about is, can you guys stop? Here's the thing. Georgia's a better Michigan. They do what Michigan does, but they do it better. To be honest, They
I
do.
don't know. That's a tough one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you don't think so?
I mean, don't get me wrong. Georgia's completely better than Michigan, but I mean, if Missouri plays you close, Kent State plays you close, Kentucky plays you close.
Ooh.
Yo, what's up, TF?
Yo. You think it's bad listening to these USC fans brag? You just wait till the U is back because this is going to get like so much worse. It's going to get
He's got a good
so
point.
much worse when we come up in here and we back mofos. We are totally back. It's the off season, bitches, and we are here and we're taking over and we are going to just own college football once again.
Man, dude, you are a radio host, man. You are a radio host.
You think you're gonna sit here and listen to these USC fans brag? You just wait till us tacky ass fans when we come back.
None of us
You
will
are
be alive
going.
when
Hey,
you finally return.
none of you were alive when we were actually relevant either, so it's fitting.
No, I wasn't.
I think I was at the very end.
When Malik Razier was the quarterback, that's when they were the best that one year.
Ken
Oh,
Dorsey,
how horrible!
Ken Dorsey, man.
What happened with Miami traveling fools? Like they were expected to win the Coastal Division, but then they're like one of three teams.
Man, it's getting full, baby.
Season.
This is what we love
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah, we're always expected to do a whole lot of things, but it just doesn't quite pan out. But you know.
Yeah, but that's
I bought it in TF. I thought it was going to happen. I didn't know that offense or whatever. It just was not Van Dyne's freaking thing, man.
No, it's
Van
horrible.
Dyne's just kind of didn't
If you
happen.
remember the whammy in Miami.
It was horrible. It was horrible. All right, guys, I'm going to bounce back off. I just heard Tim talking smack on here and had to jump in and throw some punches, you know.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to join.
Maybe eventually they'll land, man. I hope the U returns.
I hope so too. Tim, get up with me tomorrow night, all right?
Absolutely. What are we doing?
I don't want to talk about something I'm doing on somebody else's stream, but get up with me tomorrow night.
You got it. Just DM me, yeah.
Part
Yeah,
3.
I got you. We're finishing up Jeopardy.
Awesome.
The last questions
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
from the man. So
By the way, TF, thank you so much for that. You sent me the thing, that Jeff stuff you sent me, the commercials. Priceless, man. That stuff is.
Wait, you mean this? You mean this?
Wish you could be as annoying as an Alabama fan? Well, now you can with Bama Brag, the new bubble gum from Tuscaloosa Chew. Open your own pouch of Bama Brag, pack in a wad, and in no time you'll be spewing irritating nonsense and aggravating statistics, just like the rest of the redneck idiots that say Roll Tide when they have nothing else to offer. Maybe your school doesn't have 18 national championships, but now you can parade around like a stuffy jerk, just like fans of the Crimson Tide. Grandma Bag Bubblegum. It's gumpalicious.
And that was like one of the biggest Alabama
that's
fans of
awesome.
all time.
That's so awesome.
I love that cranky old son of a bitch.
Yep.
I miss him every day. But all right, guys, I'll bounce off, let you go back. I know this is Young Guns, and I'm not young. And
Hey,
Appreciate you
I'm not
calling in,
either.
Tia. We love your support.
all right, guys, I'm always here. I'm always listening. I'm always supporting. Everybody, make sure you hit that thumbs up. See you guys later.
See you
Later.
later.
Thanks, Travel Fools.
What's up, hummus?
What about
Yeah.
Thomas? What's up?
So it's I just figured we better start some USC trash talk with the other Big Ten fan bases because they're going to be in here in the next couple years. So
2024 on NBC. That's going to be a big one.
Now, don't get me wrong. Give credit to USC. It's a great year. Like I keep saying, there's a lot of teams out there that don't even reach 10, 11, 12 wins in a year that would really love to. So, all credit to USC.
Yeah,
It's
we're
just
one of them.
we're turning back around to the USC Alabama style treatment of look at us, we're so good, we're awesome, which you are, but it's like people don't want it to be jammed down their throat.
Well, I just have one. I have one issue with Tim's statement about, he's bringing up ancient history that, like, yeah, our last national championship was in 1968, but like USC's prior to the 1.5 they have this century, they were in the 70s. Like, if
What math are you using? We have 2, not 1.5. There's no thing as a half.
There was no split championship.
You have 1.5.
It's not a half a championship.
1.5.
Your math is wrong. I don't know where you just half stuff.
I think he's talking about a split championship.
No, I know what he's trying to say, but it
still counts as one because you're a champion.
Go ahead and show me in the record books. If you look at the record books, you never see a half, do you, Hummus? It's always whole numbers, correct?
Championship, one consensus.
Anyway, yeah. So we have 2 national championships, and you have 2 national championships.
No, you have 1.5.
Hummus, you can keep saying that all you want. It doesn't make it real. All right.
Yes,
take a look at the record books, my man.
National championship with LSU.
Yeah. You know why? Do you know why that happened, Hummus?
Because LSU was probably the better team.
Right. Who was ranked number 1 in both polls before the BCS game?
USC, but that doesn't mean that they didn't have to face LSU. Right. You didn't have to play the best team. So listen. We history lesson. Look, that 2003 USC team might have been better than the 2004 USC team. It might have actually been better than the 2004 team. But we'll never know, Tom. They didn't.
No, you're right, because the BCS is garbage, and the AP did the right thing and said, you know what? We've never ever had a national champion rated number 1 and then won their bowl game and gave someone else a championship. So they had integrity and said, we don't care what ESPN and Disney are doing.
Well,
we're just going to give them the national title.
They weren't unbeaten. They lost a game that year.
Huh?
Didn't USC lose a game that year?
Yeah, they lost to California with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's why.
With Aaron Rodgers in triple overtime, yeah.
So what? You still lost. That's why.
And what? What is that? Are you saying Ohio State's never lost in one of their championship games in their national championship seasons?
I feel like we'll resolve this debate tonight.
It wasn't fully in your control is because you guys lost a game that year. So you'll never know if you were better than LSU. Plain and simple. You weren't consensus national champs. It is what it is.
In 2002, maybe you weren't a consensus national champs. We'll never know if you were better than the other teams didn't play you. What an argument that is.
Tim, they were unbeaten.
Hold on. Now, that's not true either because we played the number 1 team, Miami. Miami was ahead.
My point is USC
above the rest.
My point is USC was number 1 in both polls, and they were left out of that game that everybody and their mama knew they were going to win, but they're left out of the game.
Now, I agree with you, Tim, that they shouldn't have been playing Iowa or whichever one it was.
No, they played Oklahoma, I think. I got to look.
Yeah, Oklahoma, not Oklahoma.
Young Gun show straight up hijacked.
Oh yeah.
No, if it was hijacked, Tony and Rick would be in here too.
So let's talk about the Heisman race. That's what this show's about, right?
Yeah.
So now, who do we think besides Caleb that really should be in that position?
Max Duggan.
Now, we're no one's gonna say CJ Stroud, right?
No. I won't even say CJ.
Hummus, do you think Stroud has an argument?
No.
I'm just kind of
Blake Corum has a huge argument.
To me, it's just Max Duggan, and it's not going to be him, so it's Caleb Williams.
Penix Jr.
Michael
Penix has a good argument.
Penix had a good year, but I think anybody who really watched all year knows that Caleb was the best player. I mean, I don't think it's really, to me,
his rushing numbers put him over the top.
Well, I just put it this way: that USC's offensive line, they lost a couple more guys, but the entire year he was doing that because offensive line was not as good. They were injured, and without Caleb Williams, they probably are 8-4 team for sure this year. If we had our backup in the whole year, probably go 8-4. But because we had him, we won those games. And I love Larry to death. I love the Utes to death. But it was 17-3, and literally Caleb was doing whatever he wanted to do to that defense until he pulled his hammy. So,
Connor Johnson, y'all got Tim first.
I think that if you're looking at the
Connor, settle down, Connor.
Not only the most brilliant player, like the most over the top like stats and stuff like that, which Caleb has that this year too. But like you just pointed out, Tim, also the most important to his team is also Caleb. So I don't think that I think that it's one of those years where it's a slam dunk, in my opinion.
I just the thing is that the most outstanding football player, and there are some. And it sucks that it's not a defensive award. Someone said Corum. The thing, I think he's a beast.
Yeah, that was me.
Austin, I think he's an awesome running back. But how much of that is that awesome Michigan offensive line? Because we who's the other guy that was injured, came in fourth quarter and ran all over?
Edwards.
100%, Tim. Michigan's offensive line. Corum doesn't get the Derrick Henry like numbers that he's got. I 100% agree with you. But he's also responsible for a lot of Michigan wins, too.
They as a running back, you need to be almost have you definitely got to rush for at least 2,000 yards. You have to have a record-setting. See, you got to have like an amazing running back year in order to be considered for the Heisman.
You can't miss games either.
To be considered for the Heisman, because and he got injured. I mean, it does suck. It would have been great to see if he'd finished out the year, but I don't think he was really on pace. Now, if he had that fourth quarter that they had, and he was the running back for that fourth quarter, then it would have tightened up pretty quick, right? If he would have done that to Ohio State's defense, it would have tightened up really fast, that race. But it's just too hard for the running backs and receivers to win it. It's really become a quarterback award.
And the only reason why Devontae Smith won it in 2020 was because no one felt that Mac Jones was actually really an elite quarterback, and they gave it to the national championship winning team. The best player, they didn't win it yet, obviously the Heisman first, but the best team that at that time was Alabama. And it's like they gave it to the receiver only in that one scenario because he made Mac Jones look fantastic. But it's like you said, Tim, it's so hard to win it now as a running back and receiver. It's almost impossible. Or anybody.
That year, too, that was the COVID year. And I truly believe, not just me being an Ohio State homer, but I think that if Justin Fields played all year that year, he would have had the stats and he would have won.
I agree with that.
Well, and I think the reason why it's become a quarterback award, because if you go back maybe 30 or 40 years, 40 years? Go back about 40 years, it was a running back award because a lot of running backs would win this award because football was different back then. It was actually the running back was the biggest, I know at USC, no one knew the name of well, they did, but it wasn't a big deal to be the quarterback at USC. It was all about being the tailback at USC back, my dad watched football before my time. So it's just the game has changed, and the most important and the most exciting position on the field that does the most damage is the quarterback.
So let me ask you, Tim, I have a question for you. What games do you believe, or stretch of games, do you believe that sealed the Heisman for Caleb Williams? Unless something happens catastrophic and they decide not to pick him. What games do you believe?
The UCLA game put him over the top.
Yeah, I thought. Well, I was looking at after the Utah game on. If you go back and watch the tape, I said that he's on his way to going on a run because I saw who they had coming up, and the defenses. Although there were some decent offenses, the defenses were pretty bad. So I said he's ready, and he's probably pissed off. He's ready to put up some big numbers and make a Heisman push. I'm kind of proud of that. Right after the Utah game, I called that after during I think it was the Utah post game show, or maybe the Pac-12 show the next on that Thursday. But he did, and he put up just ridiculous numbers, right? The offense was putting up 500 yards a game, and he was throwing for 300 and rushing for about 100 or 80 yards a game. And there was a stretch there for 4 games where he was responsible for 5 touchdowns in a game. He did that 4 times in a row. It's probably what helped him the most.
So, let's see. Tim, what was your reaction to Deion getting hired by Colorado? Do you think it's going to be a quick fix, or is it like a long-term rebuild? Because, I mean, like the thing to think about is when Deion was at Jackson State, right? He was able to get a 5-star recruit to go from Florida State to Jackson State.
Travis Hunter.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeffrey. Travis Hunter. He was able to do that with Travis Hunter. Will he be able to do the same thing with, like, say, Alabama 5 stars or USC, Ohio State 5 stars? What do you think, Tim?
I think he's going to bring a lot of talent in. I think he's going to be able to turn some heads, and if he can put together the right staff, then he'll definitely be able to bring in. I don't know the staff yet too much. I want to know a little bit more about the guy the offensive coordinator he brought over.
The head coach from Kent State is his new offensive coordinator. Yes.
Yeah, I mean I know he's a young offensive mind, but it'll be interesting to see what he can do and what he can recruit. I think it's a home run hire. Whatever they did, look where they are. Just be the fact that they are now on the front page of everything, right? They're the big story. And it was during talk about that. It was during the story, instead of it being about the SEC championship game, was all about Deion Sanders. You know what I mean? He stole the limelight, and he has that ability to do that. Colorado. Another thing is people can be patient with him at Colorado, and I think if he could win. Matter of fact, we had a guy on who follows, and he's the beat writer for Boulder for the Buffs. Brian, he said flat out, if they become bowl eligible, it'd be a massive. And I agree, because the thing about USC is we were 4-8. I throw it around this a little disingenuous when I say that, because really it was probably closer to a 6-6, 7-5 team. So it's just you lose your head coach, it goes to crap, right? So there was some talent there. It wasn't a 4-8 team that Lincoln took over. This Colorado team is bad. It has been picked apart. USC, one of our receivers was their best receiver last year, and our cornerback, Mekhi Blackman, was their best set guy in the secondary. And then teams throughout the Pac-12 and the country just stripped that team apart. So when you talk about having no talent, they have zero talent. They're like all a bunch of 1 and 2 stars on that team right now.
Right. And another question I have is, remember how Colorado had like Mel Tucker for 1 year, and then Michigan State was able to get Mel Tucker after 1 year?
Yeah.
Do you think the same could happen with Deion Sanders, or do you think he's just going to tough it out for the next 3-4 years at Colorado?
I hope for the AD at Michigan State that all works out, because they backed the Brinks truck up and they threw a lot of cash at him. Right. And Colorado just wasn't willing to do that, because they're like, we love you, Mel, and we brought you over and we think you're great. You can do lots of stuff, but we're not going to throw that kind of money, that kind of a contract at you. Do I think this is Deion's final stop? Heck no. A guy like him, he's so big. He wants to go to the NFL one day. So if he's that successful, right? If he takes them and let's say they're 9-3, maybe in 2 years, or 10-2 in a couple of years, he's going somewhere else. He's not staying in Colorado. But Colorado was like, Colorado's credit, they gave him the shot, so who knows? Maybe he will be a little loyal to them. I just wouldn't say it. That's not a final destination, right?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about more of these coaches on Sunday, because Jackson, you trying to blow Sunday, man. Sunday is coaching.
So Tim,
one question I
have a question for you.
Razzle.
Yes, Ohio State is as good as USC. That's correct. Right, Hummus?
Tim, who are your 4 Heisman candidates right now? Who are your 4 Heisman candidates as we sit tonight?
I would have put Penix at 4 instead of Stetson Bennett.
That's what I said, Penix. Literally, I only had Bennett because I ranked the 4 that were actually the candidates, but it should have been Penix. Yep.
And I only threw in Bijan because I don't think CJ really is worthy.
Yeah.
And I think CJ might be getting in on because he plays on a great offense. But he's a great quarterback, but I think some guys have had better years. I'll just say it that way. Right. I think he's one of the 4 best. I think he's one of the 4, obviously one of the 4 best quarterbacks in the country, probably one of the best 2 quarterbacks in the country. But I think that other quarterbacks had a better year than him. If I'm saying that correctly. I mean, there were a number of quarterbacks that had a better season.
I think a lot of it's perception too. I think that if Ohio State beats Michigan and Stroud throws 4 touchdowns in that game, I think that right now we're having a debate: is it Caleb or is it CJ?
So my one argument
that is correct.
But see, Stroud threw.
Go ahead.
No, sorry, I cut you off, Edward. Sorry.
I was about to say my one argument about CJ Stroud, if we're just going to do it on, what the Heisman is about, like what you mean to your team and statistics and all this other stuff. I mean, I'd put Drake May above CJ Stroud in a heartbeat. Like, he's got way more yards. He's got 1 less touchdown. He's 2 less touchdowns and 1 less interception. But he's got almost 700 more yards than he does, and a better passing completion and a better QBR. So I don't know. That's my argument.
Well, he missed Stroud. How many games did Stroud miss? Did he?
He didn't miss any. One thing I will say though about Drake May is we also have to look at the defenses faced. I mean, let's be real. The ACC, they don't play defense in that conference. I mean, a lot of those numbers came.
And how many defenses in the Big Ten actually can pass them? Y'all are the only team that runs a high-powered offense in a division that is geared to stop the run.
No, well, in the Big Ten, you have three of the top 10 statistical defenses in the country. Actually, probably 3 of the top 5. So, I mean, we didn't face Illinois, but even at that, Penn State
in the Big Ten
has NFL
to Tim's credit, how many of those offenses are in the top 20?
Offenses. We're talking about defenses, Faith.
Well, no, I mean, it's a little bit of a combination of both. He's bringing an argument I brought up earlier, I think, on Mark's show or some show. The Pac-12 has like 4 of the top 5 offenses in the country. And then you have to ask yourself, is that because the defenses are that bad, or the defenses as bad as they appear statistically because the offenses are that good? And it works both ways. When people say that, for instance, the defenses in then again, I've watched North Carolina, so I know they've got some pretty bad defenses. Like when I feel bad about USC's fourth quarter in Las Vegas Bowl, I'll just turn on any game from North Carolina and watch them play defense. I start feeling better right away. But
they gave up 45 to Notre Dame.
That's the problem. Just imagine
who lost
at a
Stanford.
Drake, you know what I mean? Like,
and that was early season Notre Dame, right? Will, when you guys were struggling. And when
we thought there are guys on the message boards that thought, oh wow, Pines actually might be like a top 25 starter. People were saying that after
the North Carolina game got Notre Dame out of their funk too. After that game, they started playing better altogether.
And maybe they were gelling. I mean, Will, you made a great point about your O-line coach getting the O-line kickstarted, and the O-line did start playing better. So maybe sometimes you need that ACC defense. Or I'm just kidding, Edward. That was a joke. I'm not being serious. Seriously.
This is my point too. Is like the Big Ten. How many Big Ten offenses run a spread high-powered offense? Ohio State, correct?
Well, no. Look at the quarterback. Edward, let me make a point for you. Name the top 5 quarterbacks in the Big Ten. It drops off really fast, doesn't it?
Right? You couldn't. It's CJ Stroud.
And then you go JJ, and then you go
Aiden O'Connell from Purdue at 3.
Okay, there you go. That's 3.
That's a decent 3, and then there's a huge drop.
Right.
And then
all their offenses are geared to run the ball. It's easier to stop the run for everything because that's how they play, compared to, hey, guys, we're going to spread the field out and just throw the ball.
His brother was really good before he got hurt this season for Maryland.
He has a chance to be good next year.
Yeah, so that's 4. We have 4.
Huh? Yeah, Talia Tagovailoa, I know.
Yeah,
you got to get all the way down to 8 before you get to a bad Pac-12 quarterback.
Top 5 big
8 or 9. 8's like Tanner McKee, and he's going to be an NFL player. So, sorry, go ahead.
That's the same thing in the ACC as well.
Yeah, my top 5 Big Ten QBs are JJ McCarthy. Sorry, Buckeyes. Stroud's number 2. Aiden O'Connell's 3. Clifford, the big blue nitty line, is number 4.
Talia is higher than Clifford.
Two is Talia Tagovailoa at 5.
I would flip those. I would put
TJ's
Talia
1.
Tagovailoa at 4, and then Clifford at 5, and then there's a big drop off.
Yeah.
Honestly, Jackson, I don't think there's any question that CJ is the best quarterback in the.
Yeah, without a doubt.
JJ's good. JJ's good. He's flashing, but he's not CJ Stroud, dude. He had that good game, but that's not.
JJ, exactly. JJ's not about to drop back and pass the ball 40 times.
But yeah, I agree that it is kind of a which comes first, the chicken or the egg, or a catch-22, or however you want to describe it. What is the defense, or the defense is really that great, or the offense is that bad? But there are other things that you can look at to determine it, and a lot of it is how do these players end up faring in the NFL. I mean, the reality is that you know that Penn State has, what's his name, Brown, the cornerback. He's going to be a top 15 pick. You know what I mean? Like, Penn State has a good solid secondary. It's just reality. So doesn't Michigan. Iowa. I mean, these players are good. So I mean, you can say all you want that the offenses are bad, but I mean, in time you'll see that these players were good, and we know the coaching is good. So,
well, if we're comparing, sorry for interrupting, and nice to you also, I'm sure Sierra Avenue producer.
What's going on with the internet?
Connor, I'm setting up a GoFundMe for your internet because you have brilliant ideas, but I can never hear what you're saying.
Is anyone watching the FCS playoffs right now? This Incarnate Word South Sacramento State game, it's a heck of a ball game.
It's kind of cool that Incarnate Word's still good since Cameron Ward's gone. It's kind of cool they're still pretty good.
Oh, Montana State is just
and their coach, right? The offensive coordinator, I think, at Wazoo, isn't he from Incarnate Word? I say Incarnate Ward. Did he come there?
It's the quarterback, Cameron Ward.
No, I know that quarterback Ward is from Incarnate Word. But also the OC.
Oh,
no. Connor's trying to tell us some words of wisdom is way smarter than me, but we can't get his internet to work.
I don't know.
We always say it's that
Connor,
West
sign
Virginia
language.
internet, it's that Oregon internet, it's that Alabama internet.
No, nothing's worse than a West Virginia internet. I'll tell you that right now.
At least Joey, you can hear Joey every time.
Incarnate Word has a completely new coaching staff.
I'll call back.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, Will, because I'm pretty sure that the part of it was with Ward. The head coach, I think, became the offensive coordinator at. If not the offensive coordinator, the head coach, one of the two, became the OC at Wazoo.
Yeah,
Incarnate Word's coach this year, after 1 year, left for Texas State. So yeah. So now
again, Incarnate Word, Oregon, certain schools are stepping stones.
Yeah.
Yeah, except some go downward.
That was a joke and nobody laughed. Was it really that bad? Sorry.
What?
Never mind. If I was explaining this just gets worse and more embarrassing. I'm gonna roll with it.
Hey Tim, in some cases, that Oregon job, you just go down from there, like Mario Cristobal.
Yeah, or like who's the guy from the Taggart?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So
what's crazy
my
because when you look at his coaching record, like that dude's only had one season above 500 ever.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're being serious. Hummus, you guys gotta beat Georgia. I don't think you're going to, but my goodness, wouldn't that be a huge story if you guys knock off the SEC?
And we play an Ohio State Michigan rematch in the national title game. That would be sweet.
And see, that's the thing is Ohio State can do it, right? Because if you're going to beat Georgia, it's going to be with a high-powered offense. But the problem is, I don't think your offensive line can withstand.
I'm more worried about their defensive line holding up. That's what I'm worried about. But if they can score enough on that secondary, which looks very, very susceptible to the big play, I think that it could happen. That's the perfect offense for it.
Sounds a little better.
LSU put up 500 yards on Georgia.
Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying.
So here's my question.
Jackson, don't ruin our playoff. I'm not saying a word. I mean, I'm not spoiling nothing, man.
That game, that LSU Georgia game.
Oh, I know
was a lot
nothing on who I
closer.
think's gonna win
Like,
it all.
if
So-
you watch
so here's
that LSU Georgia game, if it wasn't for a few goofy mistakes by LSU, like that blocked field goal, did you guys see that? Where they just like thought it was a dead ball, and then they just like picked it up and ran it back into like all the way back. Like the.
But no,
the
Hummus, you know, Hummus, they made one mistake. It was a big mistake. You know what? The mistake they made for that game? They hired Kelly. That guy can't win a fucking big game to save his life. Sorry, guys. That guy can't win a big game to save his life. That was their mistake. They Brian Kelly effect.
You know, Tim.
So now
get
the con-
needed.
The young guns have been rated.
That might be the overarching mistake, but I'm talking about that.
So Connor, now that you're
blocked
back,
field goal.
Yeah, no, I think
Who
Ohio
is
State
your
can do it.
who is your Heisman picks, Connor?
It's Caleb and then everybody else, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, probably Stetson second, but definitely Stetson second. I mean, the kid's a walk-on, a 2-star. Like,
Well, yeah,
I get George's really good.
Connor.
And then
give him that, but Stetson
Penix,
doesn't
I'd put
has to be
third.
two.
Aiden
Duggan has to be
O'Connell
two.
needs to be number 3 then.
Well, I
Connor.
just think Stetson doesn't have to be 2, but I think it would be appropriate to reward him for winning probably 2 natties in a row. That's my only
but throwing
thing.
20
Connor, that's not what the award's for. The
I
award's
know
not
it's for best player,
right.
but sometimes
Oh,
they
I can't.
skew the 2. So if they're going to skew the 2
Lifetime
in the past,
achievement.
I want them to do it regularly.
Well,
So if they're
That's
going to
why
do it
they
in the
put him
past,
on the ballot
So-
anyway, because of the fact they looked at the winning.
his numbers are
Here's
good.
the thing.
Like, his numbers are not that far behind.
Stetson is like 35, so he does deserve that lifetime achievement award.
Connor.
Hendon Hooker
Achievement
and
award.
Stetson Bennett are the same age. Come on.
Connor.
So actually, my hot take would be hotter than that. I would say Penix is going to be the early season favorite for next year because they won't give it to Caleb twice.
Are you forgetting someone? You
won't
realize
give
that
it to
Caleb's
Caleb
back
twice.
next year, right?
They gave it to Tebow
Caleb
twice. They're not
Williams.
going to give it to Caleb twice.
They're not going to give it to
Tebow's a
Caleb twice. They're
one-time-
going to make
no.
sure someone else wins it.
If-
This
if
is
S-
how the
I'll tell you
Heisman works.
Now, if
Tebow got it twice, but he's the only guy that could get it twice.
That means we all have a chance to win it then.
if SC goes 13-0, they will absolutely give it to him.
His
Fair,
numbers
yeah,
will have to be his numbers will have to be equal or better. That's the problem, and losing the receivers that they're going to lose. I don't know if I see that happening exactly.
Have you seen like the 2 receivers are coming in this year? And remember the portal's still there.
That's true. The portal.
Actually, 3 receivers. They got that tall kid from Arizona, dude. If they keep that kid,
Taj Washington.
No, Taj is awesome. He's back, but no,
Taj
they
is
have
awesome.
Kai Lemon.
He's your
They got
next
a
guy.
kid. They got a kid from Bishop Gorman. Zachariah Branch.
Yeah.
Just remember that name, Zachariah Branch. That kid's gonna be legit.
4 or 5, Tim? 4 or 5? 4 or 5 stars on 2
Oh, he's 5-star. He's the number 1 receiver in the country.
Oh shit!
Zachariah
All right.
Branch. He's the number 1 receiver in the country.
Day 1 started.
Oh, yeah.
Zachariah
Oh,
Branch's teammates been outplaying him this year like bad. They've had to actually double him, and Branch had got a lot of single coverage this year. That was what was surprising to me about Bishop Gorman, is that whoever their second guy is, I don't know his name, that dude, he's going to be on a lot of people's wish list when he's, I think he's a sophomore. He's going to be on a lot of people's wish list.
Coming in hot with the high school take. That's a deep take to go 2 deep on a wide receiver crew in a high school. That's good shit. Bishop Gorman, I mean, they're elite. That's Vegas. So
Yeah, Connor, I got a
Bishop
question
Gorman
for you.
is very elite.
Is
yeah,
Bishop
top
Gorman
3,
the
top
school
5
that produced
program.
Tate Martell?
They produce a lot. I wouldn't be Ohio State quarterback. That sounds right.
Yeah, the dude who kind of went to Miami and flunked out too.
Tate's retired. Isn't he trying to be an MMA fighter now?
Really?
What a
I don't
switch!
know.
Brendan Shaw.
Everyone stop. Look at Jeffrey's face. He wants to throw all of us off his show right now. Look at him. He's supposed to throw. He's like, what has happened? What is this crap that's in my show right now?
He's like, how does he got?
Rewind the tape. I want to see Jeffrey.
My
Jeffrey,
age.
your face could have spoiled milk, Jeffrey. The look on that face. It was like, get these guys out of my show.
Dude, I had to put the camera back on, man. I had to put the camera back on. That's just what I was feeling right there, man.
He's like,
Rope it back in.
he's like, why did I bring Tim on the show? It just went downhill from there.
So I have a
The old
question.
man, Young Gun show.
So
since we brought up Willie Taggart, do you think is it he can't coach a good program, or is it that he didn't have the talent to
Thank
win?
you for reminding me, and thank you
Florida
for the question. I want to take that a different direction
in Oregon.
because there's talks that Prime hires him, but he's not going to. I don't know, maybe. Doesn't matter. My thoughts on Prime are that he is the best hire. I think I said it, I commented. He's the best hire in college football the last 10, 15, in my memory. I mean, if you go on and watch his YouTube videos, he is 100% the real deal. And he's always been the real deal. I mean, y'all are knowledgeable football fans. He's never failed. I know the pundits are saying that a lot. But, like, and Tim, I actually disagree. I think he might stay there a long time just because of the fact that I think he's the kind of guy that takes a program as Colorado that people are like, definitely 20-year-olds are like, they're nothing. And he wants to put his fingerprints all over that program. That's going to be his deal from the beginning. He's not going to want to leave that baby until he wins a natty. And it's easier in the Pac-12 than the SEC. And in the Pac-10 in the future, we're going to have to play all 9 teams, but the LA schools are gone. Prime's going to get his, and he's already gotten his kids in there. Shedeur is a top 5, top 10 quarterback right away. Off the top, I'm like, this kid could be a Heisman. I mean, I'm telling Colorado fans to pump their brakes because year one is not imaginable. Take this from an Oregon State fan. 5 years ago, we were 131 on the Sagarin rankings, or 130. There's only 131 FBS teams. Colorado this year is 146, so they're lower than some FCS teams. And Dion, you gotta appreciate that. He went to Jackson State. I don't know much about HBCUs, but they weren't good.
Did they win the Natty?
They play tomorrow or today, but they're not playing in the FCS Natty. They didn't get an invite. There's like a swag.
Yeah,
they didn't get an invite, so they play in a Celebration Bowl against another historically black conference. Which I don't know how I feel about that, but I don't know enough about it. But
I'm just saying though.
Just close it out at this. He's got like Colorado's facilities. Go look at their facilities. They're up there with Bama's, with anybody else's. If you're 18 to 20, you're going to Colorado, and I'm worried, but also like back to pack, like that's gonna be huge.
Now, Connor, I said this. Someone asked me, are we worried about him taking? Are USC fans worried about him taking recruits from us and making it hard for us to recruit? And I'm sure he's going to get his fair share of recruits. As far as LA and stuff, I think it's going to be like this. If USC is doing well, we're going to keep most of the players, right? But there's always some guys who go off to Miami back in the day or go off to Oregon or go to Ohio State. That's always happened. But the majority of them do stay home. So now instead of them, they've all been going up north. They've all been going to Oregon. With Coach Prime at Colorado, it's going to hurt Oregon's recruiting. You watch. Or it's going to be those guys that used to go to Oregon are now going to go there. Ohio State guys, a lot of the guys from Florida that used to come to you guys, they might be coming to Colorado a little bit. So I'm just saying, I think he's going to rule. He's doing a great job in Florida, I bet.
Yeah. But as far as recruiting, you asked, or I wanted to respond to a question earlier. Tim asked about his staff. He just hired the defensive line coach at Alabama, Nick Williams, maybe young guy. That's one of the big dogs for recruiting in the SEC. He hired Alabama's defensive coordinator, who has like 20 years experience. He hired. There's talk Mike Zimmer from the NFL might be an analyst or like an advisor. The Kent State offensive coordinator, I don't know anything about, but you look at his record and his stats, and you're like, this guy runs a fun offense. This is perfect for the Pac. And so you put all that together with the best recruiter. Like, he hasn't proved it yet, but I have like such little doubt in my mind that he's going to prove to be the best recruiter. I guess you could already make a case. 200 people in like one day, like people are going to him. And Tim, to answer your question on which player returns, there's one guy when Oregon State played Colorado that we could not tackle for some reason. Actually, I know the reason. He's 250 pounds, 6'1" running back named Jay Lee Stacks, only like an 82, low 3-star. And he'll probably be like the third string running back. But I bet Dion keeps him and maybe make him a fullback. Everybody else on that team is gone.
Connor, we got to give them their show back, man. We're talking way too much. They don't want to talk about Oregon State and USC.
That was my talk. That was on Prime. This is a Prime. Yeah. This is prime time hour, baby.
Yeah, but
All
we'll
right.
definitely cover the coaching carousel on Sunday a little bit more. We're going to cover the on primetime standards, and believe me,
My bad, I'm
it's
coming in
a very
hot.
beautiful subject. One question I want to make sure I can ask you real quick is where would you place Michael Penix in your Heisman list
For this year? Yeah, obviously for this year. My bad. So Caleb 1, Stetson 2, but I would put Corum ahead of him. I think Corum's had a better year. I just think the other
Thank
stuff
you,
for
Connor.
Stetson,
No
the
one's
Heisman
giving
stuff
Corum
always
any
does.
respect.
No, yeah, he's a beast. I mean, think about it this way. If Corum wasn't there, their other running back would also be a beast. So their scheme, and maybe they're not playing anybody, but I do like Corum. And then, so maybe 4, I'd put Penix. No, 5, because the kid from Duggan, TCU. So Penix.
I would have said
Here's the
Caleb
thing.
1. Oh, hey, hold on. Austin's for you. Caleb 1, Malik Cunningham 2, and then the rest. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm riding with Austin.
Here's the thing.
Injury.
Can Max Duggan win the award still, or is Caleb just blowing everyone out?
I've already said before, Max Duggan's going to be the closest, but Caleb Williams has the stats. It's not close.
And one game does not win you the Heisman Trophy. As
Caleb
much as we
Williams'
watched about
stats
how
are way
tired he
better.
was, you know, he was the backup, right? And then the guy got hurt or something. I can't remember how it all worked. He's had a great season. The kid's a stud. But I'm not being a homer when I tell you he's not Caleb Williams. Yeah, he just isn't.
Well,
Tim's right. I'm talking a lot, so I'll keep this to 30 seconds or left on Caleb. But think about it this way: he only gave up. That's what Utah fans want to say about the Pac-12 championship. He gave up at the end. If you want to look at it that way, sure. He finally was like, "Damn, I can't do it all by myself." He beat Oregon State by himself in the last 2 minutes with a dime. He was the only reason that he was in a lot of the games, and he's the reason they won a lot of their games. So Utah broke his will finally after
No,
a
what
long
the hell are you talking about?
I don't even think he broke his
He had a
will.
moderate to severe pull. Dude, Connor, have you ever pulled a hamstring before, dude?
No, but on that topic,
It wasn't
Tristan
his
Jevy, our
will.
third string did.
that was considered his bag
This
game.
is where but hang on. Bo Nix was injured against us. He stayed out there and passed
He
the
didn't
ball.
have a
He should
pulled
have just
hamstring, dude.
He should have
There's
just
a
relied on the arm.
difference.
Caleb or Bo Nix couldn't plant on his throwing foot. He could not plant on his back foot, so they could only throw 10 yards. They had to change their whole offense. But Caleb's their best option. That's why they kept him in. They tried their best. But Utah is still the cream of the crop. So don't
No,
hold
they're
that
not.
against
Oh,
Caleb.
just stop.
And,
Connor, stop.
No,
But we
of
still
the
have to
Pac-12,
the Utah game.
of
The
the
reality is
stop.
that
Pac-12.
the reality is that
I can't listen
Tim,
to
you
this
get
thing.
too riled up. You get too riled up.
Utah's not the cream of the crop, bro. That's just
Of the Pac-12.
No, not even the Pac-12. They're
They won it
probably
all
the
last
second best
year.
team. They're
Over the
probably not
last
even the
5
second best team.
But
Then who's the first
what
best team?
program does people think of when they
You're
think of
looking at the best
Pac-12?
team. You're looking at the best team.
So the team that
Utah
beat
has the best
you
defense.
and is the defending conference champs for 2 years in a row is not
you.
the best
Yeah.
team. They do deserve some credit.
Buckeye Mike, what does last
Tim's
year have
mad
to do with this year?
because they can't win the Pac-12 before they leave, and they only have one shot left. They might do it, but they're 50% now.
Well, no,
They
my point
might?
They
My
might
point
win,
is,
though.
they've won the conference twice.
We could beat y'all next year. If we get a quarterback,
You guys lost to them.
if we get a quarterback.
So
Connor,
how is
you
the
guys,
team that
you guys
a
don't play
conference
us next year.
champion beat? How is the team that a conference champion beat in a conference championship not the best team in the conference? It makes no sense. Michigan is the best team in the Big Ten, no doubt.
Mike, let me explain something to you. CJ Stroud didn't pull a hamstring. We were up 17-3, and anyone that watched that first quarter, we were destroying. We were making mincemeat of them. He gets hurt, game changes.
I don't know that. I mean, Caleb doesn't play defense, and Utah did end up, kind of wearing them down. So, I mean, I think it would have been a lot closer, no doubt. But I don't know if USC wins regardless, because, I mean, look at all the points Utah ended up putting up.
And Utah won the first one, so it's enough. That's like USC was second this year.
The first one was a joke because USC should have won that by 2 touchdowns.
Okay, but you can't have
calls.
2 different excuses. You can't have the refs and also an injury. You have one excuse. I give you one pass game.
Really? They both can't
blame
like Connor. They both can't happen. I'm sorry, Connor. You're saying they can't both happen?
They can both happen, but the thing is, they beat twice.
Games. You can't blame 2 whole games on one thing, one injury.
Why not?
Look, our quarter. We didn't have a quarterback all year. We won 9
Did you
games.
watch the game, Connor?
USC, Utah, yes, 2 or 3 times.
Everybody
was it roughing the passer, Connor?
Oh, the first one or the second one? Okay. Yes.
Yeah, either
you
one
got
or 2
robbed
calls
on
were
the first
blown.
one. That'll be the excuse I give you. But the second excuse is invalid.
That are hold on, Connor.
Injuries happen.
Connor,
I got you. Quarterback all year.
Connor, hold on. The excuse that our Heisman winning quarterback, probably the best player in the freaking country, got hurt in the first quarter is not a good excuse for you when we were leading 17-3 and dominating them. And by the way, he didn't play defense, but our defense had a 3-and-out and stopped them. That's how we got the 17-3 lead.
So this is for
the voice of reason here. What's your take?
For Hummus and for Tim, real quick, one more point. Was Cam Rising injured or not at the end of the Utah game or Utah game during the Rose Bowl? And did he come back into the game and continue to fight?
Wait, was he? You broke up. Was he hurt when?
At the end of the Rose Bowl last year.
I have no idea.
In the fourth quarter, yes.
Yeah,
in the fourth quarter,
injured.
He got hurt.
He got knocked out. Yeah,
and he went back in and he fought.
No, he didn't.
Had a chance at the end of the game.
No, Connor. He got knocked out, and the backup scored a touchdown.
But Cam still came back in the game.
No, he didn't. He had a massive concussion, dude. He did not come. He wasn't even on the planet at that point. He got
messed up. I might be wrong, but
the backup came in.
I know you're standing up for Caleb, and I'm going to stand up for Caleb. But that's my Heisman pitch. Is that so next year he could have an even better Heisman pitch, and you could go undefeated next year. But you'd be lying if you weren't saying that a little bit of you didn't see that USC was giving up at the end of that game because of Utah's defense and a little bit.
The way Riley put it was actually pretty good. What happened was the offense couldn't move the ball, and so they panicked, which in my book is 2 things. One, it's your players, but it's also why are these guys panicking? But they saw that they couldn't, so they were trying. If you watch that, they weren't missing tackles. They were trying to strip the ball. They were trying to do too much.
Which is still poor technique. That's not what you teach.
No one teaches that. Exactly. So what I'm saying, Connor, is the players should have been more disciplined. But what happened was
that's on the coaches.
Sure, if you want to make it on them, yeah, I guess. Do you think the coaches taught them to panic?
No, stronger players. Utah has 4 years strong players. They have camaraderie. They've been together.
Yeah, they do.
Been in this fight.
But we have better
athletes. Not been in this fight.
Totally.
Wow.
Oregon State has way worse.
Sometimes it's not all about the athlete. It's who has the bigger heart.
So I'm saying.
I wish I had little balloons for Jeffrey right now. There's those little like cartoon balloons, and then for Will, just what's going through their heads at Jackson. They're all just watching. Why is our show like this? Yeah. Why did we let Tim come on our show?
It's also
so. Let me ask you.
I'm being antagonistic.
So to turn this back to the Heisman race, you brought up Utah. Cam Rising, is he a Heisman candidate at all?
No, he chokes. He choked against Florida. He choked again later on in the year against Oregon. Chokes.
He seems the one thing about Cam Rising.
It's not about
big games for us.
It's not about
choking.
3 games. He doesn't have the numbers.
And he lost 3 games. Overall, I'm just saying.
Choking also does play a part of it sometimes on who wins the Heisman. It's numbers, and if you played well in the tight spots and didn't choke. I do think choking sometimes does have something to do with it.
And one last thing. I think, Connor, you said that the Utah fans, one thing about the Utah fans, I love Larry, but not all of them are Larry's. They want to make it seem like A, he was faking the injury, B, because they don't want a tainted victory. They want to make sure that they beat and dominate USC. The issue I have is the talk about USC and him, Caleb quitting. I guess Caleb quit by breaking the championship game record for passing with 363 yards because that's what he ended up with. So that doesn't sound like a guy who quit to me.
If I rephrased what I phrased earlier, it might not have set you off as bad. I think I posed it that like.
So let me ask you.
Gave up and that was it. gave up's the wrong word. What he did was look around and say, I can't do this by myself anymore. I'm not getting enough help. My offensive line has been broken.
Dude, where
My
did you see
defense
that in the
isn't doing
game?
it for me.
But you saw that, like you felt that vibe watching the game that he had given up?
No,
at what point?
So I'm taking that away. I'm not saying he gave up. I'm saying he looked around himself and he said, oh, I'm not going to leave this game. No way. But also, you mentally take a check, whether he did it consciously or subconsciously, there was a switch in that game that there was no returning from what I saw.
Yeah,
And that's
it's
intuitively,
called,
that's
it's called a pulled hamstring,
football.
dude. He couldn't move.
If you're that bad, if you're that bad, then it's selfish. So come out of the game. If it's that bad, then you're being selfish, and that's a knock on his Heisman voting. So if that's
Connor,
the narrative that you want to go with,
you can keep trying. Connor, who was missing from that game on offense?
I don't know. Your backup quarterback, that would make sense.
Nope.
Right about now.
Nope.
An offensive lineman.
Our All-American
Travis Dye's been out for a long time.
No, not Dye. Forget that. We want to talk about him.
Okay.
Our All-American left tackle. Now, what was the score with 10 minutes left in the game, Connor? How much was FC down by?
It was closer than the score finished. And I don't think USC got blown out or he gave up. I regret saying that. He did not give up Caleb Williams, or else I wouldn't give him the Heisman. But also, if you're that injured,
Connor,
make a game plan for it that's better if you're Lincoln.
Connor.
Or come out of the game.
Connor, my question is, it was a 3-point game with 10 minutes left in the game. Okay? We're already missing our starting left tackle. On the play that he made that long throw, that great long throw, and they scored just before they scored that touchdown, we lost our Remington finalist center, the 5-year center. We lost him as well. So now we have 3 guys, and none of them are playing their starting position. You're going to put your backup quarterback in that point? That's just crazy.
You'll get depth next year, and I'll let that excuse fly this year. But injuries happen during the game. The Beavs have had like 3 offensive linemen. They've played like 9 offensive linemen all year. So, like, sure, that excuse exists because USC is not deep. They haven't been deep. But with time and culture will come players that stick around on the 2 and 3 deep squads that want to be there and will be available. But that's the problem with transfer portal era is like that's what Oregon State is doing right. One thing is like this culture is strong. Chance Nolan, the backup quarterback, is the only significant guy. There's only 3 total that is in the transfer portal.
Connor, I'm just reading the private chat.
What I'm telling USC and Lincoln Riley is that he's got to start recruiting the type of players on his defense that want to win the game as bad as Caleb Williams wanted to win the game for staying in the game.
Yeah.
And until that happens, Alex Grinch ain't going to do it. Until that happens, USC should have been a top 4, top 5 Pac-12 defense. We suck at defense. The Beavers defense, we praise them. I don't think we're that good. We're small in the front 7. Our secondary is great, but in the front 7, we can't load a box. You can run all over us. Utah, decent. Wazoo, decent. Those 3 are the only good ones. So USC, if this is going to come to fruition, it's going to have to happen. And people doubt Lincoln Riley. I don't even think it's a Lincoln Riley problem at Oklahoma. He can get the players on his defense there. He's just going to have to prove it. I just don't know if it's in time to win the Pac-12 championship next year.
Connor, are you reading the private chat at all?
No.
USC's next conference championship will be in the Big Ten in 2038.
Am I getting shit on?
That's highly unlikely.
That's a joke.
It'll probably be very early. Very early. I'm thinking 24.
Oh, shit,
maybe.
my bad, Jeff.
Yeah,
now I know the chat's there.
What do you think about Penix? What's your take on him?
Hey Jackson, can I stop you for a second about Penix? Love Penix, man, but you guys are awesome, man, but we like just completely went off the rails. Will, you haven't said anything in like 30 minutes. Okay, I mean, there's no.
I'm gonna
bounce.
I'm gonna go back to the chat.
You're good. I don't want you to leave. It's like there's no evenness here.
We should have just ended the show early and then just talked about this after the show. Like this would be fun to talk to like after.
Well, you know what you can do? You could boot us and then go back to where you were, and then when you go to put the video up, splice it together.
Yeah, the old people should just all leave. Let's leave.
Wow, see, ageist attitude.
No, I'm in that group. I'm probably the oldest guy here. So.
I'm the youngest one here, and I'm not complaining.
Yeah, that was
Tim's only 26.
I'm the youngest one here.
Old people on timeout for 10 minutes. Young guns. Let it rip.
Yeah, but seriously, I'm gonna have to go because it's almost 2 a.m. here. So.
I'm serious. What you guys should do is we're gonna bounce out, and you guys go back to your agenda wherever you were, and just splice it together when you put your video together. You just cut out this whole middle section about Connor being wrong about USC, and then just get the rest of it together.
But Connor, Tim, come back Sunday for our coaching carousel and talk more about Deion Sanders and talk about how he's going to beat USC next year.
Oh my God! Don't get him started with that. That's not going to happen.
I love you, Tim. You're the best. I have to mess with you.
You want me to go on Deion?
We love you, man. You guys are awesome, but just remember this: the young guns.
Yeah, you guys are the best, man. We're glad you came on, man. But it's like I wanted to answer like 100 of those questions then that rant you guys were going back and forth, and I was gonna make some points. And like I can't even. It's not even. I can't.
It's your show, Jeffrey. You gotta step in and here, hold on. You have the mute. What you do is you mute my big mouth, and then you respond to it. No, I'm being serious.
There's like a white thing
I
up
can't
here.
do that to you, man.
The microphone and
It's your show. It's your show, Jeffrey. You mute me, and then you respond. You see those shows? I love that show. What is it? There's one they have the talk show and his points, and he'll mute somebody, right? And they're talking still, but they're muted. Come on, ESPN. You guys know what I'm talking about? There's like a game show kind of thing where the guys are like,
you're talking about
around the horn.
Around the horn, yeah. So you just go around the horn and you just go, well, boop, put me in timeout, right? And then you just start talking. That's what you should do.
Yeah, it's all right, man. It's all right.
Jeffrey, I've ordained you the future of college football talk, man. You do what you do.
Was there anything specific you
But
can
yeah,
remember
Connor, come back
that you
Sunday
want to
for
ask
Deion
us?
talk. It ought to be fun.
Yeah.
All I can remember from that conversation is I agree that USC is the most talented team, but Utah deserves credit for being the number one team right now, currently, just like Michigan does in the Big Ten. But that doesn't mean that USC or Ohio State still are not the best teams. I think USC and Ohio State are the two best, most talented teams in both conferences, but that doesn't necessarily mean we should not give credit for Utah and Michigan currently for what they're doing.
Agreed.
Doesn't mean it's going to continue.
I fully, you put it succinctly and perfectly. I agree. They're the champions, but they're not the best team.
That's all I wanted to say. I would have taken 30 seconds and it would have cut out that 30 minutes.
Fully agree.
Yeah, I think now we're getting like more bags under our bags under our eyes.
Like we could have done like a little time thing from like when like everyone came on to like now, because now look at my eyes are.
No, I'll figure out how to go in and clip it all.
Y'all get on here a lot.
Huh?
How long
What do
y'all
you guys
been
have
on
for your
for
agenda?
tonight?
We've almost been live for 2 hours.
Oh, it's
Just
nothing.
a half-hour
Let it
show.
rip with the agenda. I'm gonna put it on mic and listen. Mic off, listening.
Okay.
Anybody's adding before we end the show? Anybody for the night?
I feel like overall they got it right with who they sent besides Stetson Bennett. Again, as we've said
Should have been
before,
Blake Corum.
the only reason they sent a number one team, got a chance to play for the title, but you don't make that up with Caleb Williams. I forgot. I just don't. Here's what I'll say, Tim. As far as when we brought up about Caleb winning it again next year, if he has the stats and everything is there for him to be the second ever two-time Heisman winner, I give him props. He deserves it. I just don't. It's not necessarily an OSU bias, but if you think about it, Tim Tebow should have won the Heisman twice. They didn't even give it to Tim Tebow. Now, granted,
here's my counter, Mike.
But I don't know. I don't think maybe his stats wasn't there the second time around. Maybe that's what it was. But I mean, if they won't give it to Tim Tebow, I don't see them giving it to someone else twice. Like, it's just a rarity. It could happen.
Why have we ordained Tim Tebow the greatest quarterback of all time? I don't understand what you mean. So, and by the way, if they'll give Archie Griffin, of all people, Archie Griffin 2 Heisman trophies, you're damn right Caleb Williams can win too. What he'll have to do is, you're right. I think he needs to keep the stats, because what Caleb did is he passed for more yards than any USC quarterback ever. And we've had a couple of good quarterbacks. He passed for more than any other USC quarterback in history. And actually losing the Pac-12 and not getting to the playoffs might actually be in his favor next year, because if he does lead these guys in year 2 to the playoffs and goes to say 12-1 or 13-0 going into the playoffs, you're damn right he's got a good chance to win the Heisman. I think to write him off now saying, well, he can't win it twice, he absolutely has the opportunity to. Will he? Is a whole different story.
Here's the thing.
I want to bring again. I'm not trying to. If he doesn't, if he's got everything there, he completely deserves it. I'm just saying, I think, like you're saying, it's too early to talk about next year's Heisman when tomorrow is the Heisman presentation for this year.
Well,
it's because everybody
we
thinks it's Caleb.
We already know it's going to be Caleb, so it's hard to do a Heisman discussion.
We don't know that.
I want to throw this out here. If
Mike's still holding out hope. Mike's still holding out hope it's not a Trojan.
No, if it is, they probably deserve it. I'm just saying that we don't know.
He has the best stats by far. It's not even debatable.
No. I'm not saying for this year. Caleb's definitely going to win it this year. I'm talking about for next year.
Well, he actually didn't have the best stats. Penix had the best stats.
If he doesn't miss the A&M game, is there a chance he goes back to back?
If Penix didn't choke against Arizona State, maybe he would have been competitive with Caleb.
Agreed. But the thing is, you need the stats and you also need the moments, right? He didn't really have a lot of Heisman moments either. Where you look at Caleb, he had
0.
He had tons of moments. Penix was a great pocket passer that ripped apart defenses, but that's not sexy. You know what I mean? You need the stats and you need the sexy, and he didn't have the sexy. All he had was a bunch of big numbers.
That's what I was talking about with Caleb Williams. I said that he ran the ball a lot too. His rushing numbers put him over the top. Those were my exact words about an hour and 20 minutes ago. Caleb Williams has the rushing stats as well. You combine all that together, there's no other quarterback with stats that are even close to his. It's not even debatable.
Well, here's the thing. The interceptions, I think Duggan has less than Williams, right?
Williams
Doesn't Duggan have 4?
Duggan has more.
I thought they had about
more. I think they say though. Did they both have 4 picks?
Yeah, they each have 4.
I think they both had 4. But let's take a look. So
about that.
Caleb threw 448 passes, and then Duggan. I got to keep going down a ways. Duggan threw 368, so he threw 80 more passes.
He did only have 4 picks. You're right.
So he
threw
about
not comparable.
80, yeah, and 80 more
you're
throws.
Comparing touchdown and interception ratios. I think Duggan and Williams are right there.
30 touchdowns, 4 picks, 37 touchdowns, 4 picks, and 9 rushing touchdowns for Williams, and Duggan has like 5 or 6. So it's 36 touchdowns for Duggan, and it's 46 for Williams. It's not really comparable. He's got almost 10 more touchdowns. I want Duggan to win it personally, but he's not going to win it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, Caleb Williams is probably going to be the winner, but do you think he wins it outright?
Yes.
If Duggan wins the Big 12 championship, especially after Caleb lost, I think he would have won. But Yeah, it's Caleb all day now.
I said that as well. I said there was a chance if they win,
crazy.
but still, it probably.
Well, the
would've been
chance
Caleb.
goes up. It still leans Caleb, but
Well, yeah,
because
there
Caleb
was-
lost his, that's
there-
another piece of.
It's
There's a
not a
side.
award that's won in one game. Now you can have your moment like he had, but Caleb had like 3 or 4 games like that where he carried this team to a victory. So I don't know what to say to you guys. All I know is Caleb wins in a landslide. Why are we arguing? I have no idea what we're doing right now. I really don't.
Well, I'm in total agreement with you, Tim. It's his,
Yeah, we're
it's-
all in
it's his.
total agreement. We all had Caleb
No way
number
it's gonna
one.
be
So
anybody
nobody's
but
really arguing.
And it wouldn't have mattered if he'd won that championship game. He still wasn't going to win.
How
'Cause they
tall
wouldn't
is?
have let
Duggan's
it
probably
against
the
them.
only close enough.
So to Connor's
Max Duggan's
point,
probably the only close enough.
the only part of Connor's point that I agree with is it would have made the discussion a little bit closer.
Yes.
But Caleb still wins outright. Caleb was still going to be your winner no matter what. Caleb will be the winner no matter what. It's just if Max and TCU had won the Big 12, that gap goes from like here to here. It shrinks the gap.
If
but it's
CJ
not-
Stroud,
more shrinkage.
if
Of
CJ
course, it's going
Stroud,
to increase his. Yeah, it's going to increase his.
CJ Stroud had the rushing stats like Caleb Williams, if he had to run the ball like he's capable of doing, which he did not, and they had to beat Michigan, and he didn't throw the 2 picks like that, he would have had a shot. But see, he didn't run the ball. He didn't have the stats, and he played poorly against Michigan. That's what knocked him out of it.
Mm-hmm.
He could have had a shot to win it if he had like 8 or 9 rushing touchdowns, just like Caleb Williams, because their stats would have been even. And if they had to beat Michigan, they'd have been undefeated. He would have won it. He didn't have a shot because he didn't run the ball. That's on him.
No, I think Williams' lead was enough on even Stroud because Stroud lost.
I'm saying if CJ Stroud had run the ball all season long and had 9 rushing or 10 rushing touchdowns like Caleb Williams, he could have won it if they had had an undefeated season.
That might just be him, though. He might just not be a guy that's comfortable running. Like he might just be scared to get hit.
I just said that. That's on him. I literally said it on him.
Or maybe he's not. Or maybe he doesn't have the ability to run the ball, which I'm in the group of. He can't run the ball like Caleb.
No,
he can't run the ball like Caleb.
I didn't say that. I didn't say he could. I just said
Nor
That's all
Jeffrey.
I said.
I didn't say you didn't say it either. I'm just making the point.
I know
that he probably can't run the ball.
Well, he did in one game.
He can't run the ball like him, yeah.
He showed in one game he could scramble well, but he did it one time.
I think you're looking at the reason why Caleb is so good is he can throw the ball like CJ and run the ball like Duggan. He can do both, and that's why he's your Heisman.
And that's what you want.
More athletic than Duggan, too.
What you want in quarterback.
And he's more athletic than Duggan.
That's what you want.
I still think Malik Cunningham should have won it. Right,
Was
Austin?
there any other names that people threw in the top 5? Like
I would say Caleb 1, Malik 2, Drew Pine 3.
We got
and then
Chance Nolan or Ben Gobranson.
Chance Nolan 4, yeah, that's your winners. And then DJU 5, just right outside the top four.
Fuck no, put that dude at like 20.
No, hold on. What about?
I'm realistic. I'm not a homer.
Why didn't
I'm not a homer.
Jordan Addison's name? I mean, I know his numbers weren't as good, but Jordan Addison was like second place last year in the Heisman finalists.
He missed.
He wasn't even top 4.
He missed 4 games, you guys.
That's what I meant. My bad. Like second place as far as next one in, like to be invited.
Oh, so you mean he finished like 6th?
5th, but yeah.
So let me ask you, since Connor brought up receivers, Jalen Hyatt, does he have the numbers to be a Heisman finalist?
The name sounds familiar. For remind me, Austin.
Tennessee.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Tennessee.
No. To be a receiver, you got to be. Yeah.
You got to either be like you either got to do like kickoff returns and stuff. You got to be or punt return guy like Tim Brown. You got to be that kind of a receiver in order to win the Heisman. Or Raheem Ishmael and get ripped off. You got to be that kind of a. You got to be that kind of a.
I might make a list tomorrow for my channel to have the 10.
Well, because he has
decisions.
Think
he
about
has over
this way for
1,000 yards,
receivers.
15 touchdowns.
Well, Austin, real quick. In 2001, Oregon State played in the Fiesta Bowl against Notre Dame. And two guys that both played in the NFL, one named Chad, middle name Spanish for 85, Johnson. The other guy, TJ Hushmanzada, both were elite wide receivers in college. Neither of them were looked at for a Heisman. So I don't know why the rules should change just because like a Hyatt breaks out or a Jamar Chase the other year or Jordan Addison last year. It's a quarterback award, which I don't know if I like, but that's just what it's been.
It hasn't always been a QB award, though.
More or less.
We've had a cornerback win it. You've had running backs. You've had receivers win it. But I don't know the stat, but the vast majority of the past 25 have been all quarterbacks. Because running backs aren't viewed as impactful as they used to be, even though on some teams they can be. And so to win as a running back, you're going to need to put over up 200,000 yards. You probably got to catch some touchdowns as well. You got to do some special stuff. You have to have a season like Reggie Bush had. That's what
Here's the thing. When's the last defensive player?
All right, y'all are too young. I have to interrupt. Y'all are too young. Y'all go look at Reggie Bush's high school highlights. Besides Tavon Austin, he is by far a million light years the best highlight tape I've ever seen in my whole life. When I was a kid, I'd watch those on replay, on rerun. And then Tavon Austin for West Virginia too, if you haven't seen those. But I'm back out. Whenever I want to come in, I'll probably just turn on my camera. I know that's lame, but
bye, Edward.
Good night, Edward. Thank you for coming.
Night.
Why are they called the Taters?
Because they're at agriculture school.
Fair, thank you. But yeah, what was I literally just saying that I already forgot?
Reggie Bush High School.
Oh yeah, the highlight tape. It's ridiculous. But I mean, how many running backs have there been since him? Two?
Ingram, Henry. Is that it?
That's all that came
King
to my
Henry.
mind off the top. Yeah, two of the GOATs, like best running backs of all time, NFL included.
You have to
imagine
you
having
have to
to
do
tackle
really
one
special.
of those guys.
Huh?
Imagine having to tackle Derrick Henry.
Oh yeah, I'm not messing with Derrick Henry. I'll tell you that right now. That stiff arm.
That's the scariest NFL player I might have ever seen. If you're a defender, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But any final thoughts before we wrap up the show? Anyone? Jeffrey, your final.
Go ahead.
I just think that it was a good show. Caleb Williams is going to win the Heisman. I'm glad everybody. Thanks for calling in, even though we definitely got off topic several times. Lost control of the show every now and then, but it was still a fun time sitting back and listening to you guys. And but yeah, it's Caleb Williams Heisman to lose, and everybody show up on Sunday where we talk about the coaching carousel, and we will even get in more depth on Deion.
So Connor,
Sanders
come back
and all the other
Sunday.
coaches.
So
I was about to intervene and say that I apologize. I didn't know that there was like structure to the show. When I checked in last with y'all, there wasn't as much structure. So now that I know that, now I can clearly see this was a Heisman show, and that's on me. I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, we're trying to take after.
I wanted to talk
Have a little
shit on the
structure.
Trojans. I'm a little butthurt that USC beat us at our own home for the last time, and who knows how long. So maybe I was taking that out on Tim. They might be the best team in the Pac-12, and I'm just be talking mad shit because USC and UCLA are failing. And we're going to be all right. It's prime time coming out here, but Tim, USC, fight on or whatever you guys say. Actually, but don't, though. But, like, do a little bit for the Pac. USC's a blue blood. That's all I have to say. Like, whether I like them or hate them. I don't hate them like Rick thinks we all hate them because they haven't been relevant.
Oh, you guys hate us.
long.
That's okay. But we're okay with that. You know why? Because we're arrogant bastards and we don't mind.
Yo, back to back. All right.
So
sorry for next
but I
time when I do
remind-
call in. Oh,
But Connor, I'll remind you, we are not arrogant. We're not arrogant. We're just better than you. And we'll see you later.
So my final word for the night is USC is great. USC will have the next 5 Heisman Trophy winners. Will win 2 national titles in the next 10 years. Will win 3 Big Ten titles. Will win next year's Pac title. Caleb Williams will be the other 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. That's really bold prediction, everything I just said.
One of
And
those things might happen.
Sunday, we're coming back and we're talking coaches in new spot.
And our recap on Army Navy, which will only be like probably a few minutes. I don't know.
And Mike, you're pretty close, Mike.
We'll be saying Caleb is awesome. Congrats, Caleb.
And Mike, you're pretty close because, well, it looks like Lincoln wins the Heisman Trophy every other year. This will be the third one in 6 years, so your prediction might be pretty close. And we do have Malachi Nelson coming. He's the next one.
There we go. Jeffrey, Will, what's your final thoughts before we say goodnight to everybody?
I think we definitely had a good Heisman discussion. I think it's a learning experience for us to make it a little better on topic and mute people when they're saying too much. And yeah, overall, I think it was a fun time. Always love having Tim and our favorite Beaver, Connor. And so yeah, good show.
Yeah. Austin, your final thoughts.
Great Heisman discussion, like Will said. Caleb Williams wins Heisman, obviously, and see y'all Sunday.
And my final thoughts are I'll be seeing you Sunday. We'll be seeing y'all Sunday night. And, oh man, I'm so tired. Jeffrey, take
I
it
could
away.
take over.
I could shout some more if you want, Jackson.
Actually,
What?
Tim, you're up. Tim, you or me? Tim, you already went, right? I'll go before Jeff closes it out.
Oh no, I've said
Jeffrey,
enough. I don't say
sorry.
no. Only the members of the show say final word.
Oh shit, my bad.
We talked enough, Connor. That was our final word. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for coming on. And
Yeah, thank you. You're all good, guys.
Yeah,
I could talk Florida next week. What time works best? Can we just figure it out now? I know we were talking back and forth, but
we'll go over a little bit more in
see you,
the
Tim.
stream. So,
well, but I might not be watching. Can we just get a time? Like what days of the week? What time? I'll just call in. Florida plays on Saturday. Oregon State, Florida.
Yeah,
we'll probably be doing bowl previews for those games on Thursday, right?
Yeah, Thursday is the bowl preview.
If you want, I'll call in Thursday. And I'll look up the other ones, and I'll come even prepared. And I will also mind my tongue, because Will's right. I lost a little. Tim and I went back and forth a little bit, but no, I definitely understand the concept. I can shut up. So thanks for having me. Go Bees. I'll be back on Thursday.
You guys are awesome, man. Thanks for calling in. You guys are good. We're just trying to get this show on the road, man.
Yep. That's the plan.
And
go Cards.